We have some more Donald Trump lies for you today. Huffington Post explains here, when Donald Trump released his book, Crippled America, How to Make America Great Again in November, a big part of his sales pitch was that the proceeds from the book would go to charity. Quote, "I'm giving them away. The profits of my book, I'm giving them away," Trump told reporters during a press conference at Trump Towers. Well, now, quote, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee reported that he had earned between $1 million and $5 million in royalties from the book. How much did he give to charity? Donut. Zip. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Nothing. Zero. So some reporters reached out to him like, oh, okay, so you said that you were going to give it to charity. Now we know you earned $1 to $5 million. Exactly how much did you give to charity, and can you provide us with some documentation, some evidence of it? No response from the Trump campaign. So it occurred to me, I mean, it should have occurred to me after the previous story, but now it's just fucking glaringly obvious. This is his trick. He's probably been doing this for decades now. What he does is he goes, I'm going to do this thing. I'm doing this thing. And you know what I'm going to do it for? I'm going to do it for charity. I'm going to raise money for charity. That's what I'm going to do. He's going to charity. And then when he says it's going to charity, he either pockets a large percentage of it, pockets some of it, or just keeps all of it. Guys, the thing, we covered the veteran story in detail, but understand what he did there. He said, we're going to hold an event. We're going to raise money for the veterans. That's what we're going to do. We're going to raise money for the veterans. He claimed at the event, we raised over $6 million for them. Well, that's funny because his campaign manager at the same time said, I think they raised about $4.5 million. So the media was like, that's weird. He says $4.5 million. He says $6 million. There's a big difference there. So they stayed on the story. Well, it turns out that when they called these veterans groups that he was allegedly donating to, they're like, we didn't get anything from this guy. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So they did this expose. Oh, he says he's giving all this money. He didn't give the money. And then on the day that the expose came out, Trump's like, writing the fucking checks, sending them out. And then they called, I think it was Washington Post, they called the charities and they're like, yeah, we didn't get anything. We just got a check today. So apparently he's doing the oldest trick in the book. We are going to raise money for charity. Oh, thank you for giving me the money. I swear I am going to put it in charity. Charity in my pocket, bitch. That's what he does. And then they also point out in this article, he's done this with his website. So he claims, he writes on his website, donate to veterans, donate to the veterans. And so people donate money there. Now that he raised, I think it was over $1 million there too, on his website, donate for the veterans, his campaign site. Well, people looked into it. The headline says donate to veterans. You know where the money goes? The Donald J. Trump Foundation. So what you're doing is he says you're donating to veterans, he takes the money, and then you're trusting him and his people to give some of the money to veterans. And oftentimes, they just don't. This guy is one of the most obvious con men of all time. But what's amazing is how much he's gotten away with it. Like, we covered the Trump University case. The most obvious scam so-called university ever. First of all, you can't do that. You can't just call it a university. It needs to actually be a university to call it a university. There's a process you go through. There's approval. There's permits, yada, yada. He goes, it's a university. I'm calling it a university. Again, that's like me saying I'm a medical doctor. So you can't do that. But then even the details of the so-called university, it was all classic bait and switch, classic upselling, just trying to get people for their money. And he has the balls at the end of all of it when the documents are released that show this thing is just straight up fraud. People are saying we should reopen it. We should reopen it. It's on another level. Like, he's basically taken his own bravado and arrogance and turn that into something that just dupes over a large percentage of the population, where they think because he's branded himself and marketed himself as successful, honest, straight shooter, people go, he's successful, honest, straight shooter. But when you do any amount of research into what's actually going on, it's so obvious he's a con man. So, look, at this point, as I've said before, if you are like rah, big time in favor of Trump, you're an ardent Trump supporter. And I've said this about Hillary too, and I think it's true about her too. If you're like an ardent Hillary supporter and you support her over Bernie in this way that's like fervent, I honestly think you're an idiot. Like, I want to be kind to you, but you there's no reason to take that position. There's no logical reason. I mean, you can be ignorant, you could be stupid, you can be focused on identity politics. Oh, yeah, we need a woman president, and that I don't care about the policies at all. You know, or you could just be center-right for Hillary. For Trump, if you support him, it's just a cult of personality. You know, the guy flip-flops on every issue. He somehow manages to flip-flop more than Hillary, and Hillary's flip-flopped on nearly every fucking issue. Flip-flops on every issue and just carries everything based off his bravado and his confidence and his arrogance and his ability to double down and triple down and shame everybody around him. And if you fell for that, you're a dim bulb, son. That's all I can say.